And we're coming back to you live from the park. I'm Zach.
And I'm Sean.
And we're back.
Man, can I tell you?
No.
Let me tell you.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead. I insist. I'm dying to know.
So, I added a blanket to my bed.
You did not. You shut your mouth.
Because, you know, the nights are getting colder.
Right.
And I want to, you know, sleep through them.
Mm-hmm.
And I am 100% certain that how hard it is to get out of bed is directly linked to the amount of blankets on it.
It's all that extra weight on
You know what I mean? Because, like, this summer, I would have, like, a blanket on me. And then, like, I'd wake up and I still wouldn't really want to get out of bed. But it was much easier to just be like, all right, time to move. And now, I added one more blanket. And all of a sudden, I'm, like, laying there. I'm like, you know, I could probably stay for, like, 10 more minutes. It's fine.
Because it's so warm. So, I think there's an extra layer you're forgetting.
Yes. Extra
when it's
layer.
freezing.
Very good.
When it's freezing outside of the blankets because it's winter, and you go to move the blanket, and it's like whoosh, and that makes it even harder too
because
because you're like
freezes in your room making ice puns all over the place. Ice to see you. And you're like, blankets.
Oh, I'm like the pun. No, I'm not awake enough to actually care in the morning about that. It's just like, I'm going back to sleep now.
Yeah, that's fair, man. That's fair.
Like this morning, for example, I got out of class with 3 whole minutes before class started.
You shut your mouth.
It was crazy.
That's so impressive.
I know. I got every little bit of sleep I could.
Not technically.
What? I mean, I could have been late to class.
Well, no, you could have been like a minute.
I
early.
mean, my computer has to start up. I have to put my contacts in or I won't be able to see anything.
Who needs to see? It's Zoom or Teams meetings. Like, whatever. Who cares?
Well, I have to, like, see the things on the PowerPoint.
No, you don't. They read them all anyway.
No, it's in Japanese.
It's fine.
I can imagine myself one morning like, you know, I don't care. I don't care about reading this. And then, like,
get nothing
2
from
minutes
it.
in, I'll be like, lean in as close as I can to the monitor. All right, I think that's a A.
It's actually just some Chinese character. It's like it's like got so much like intensity to it. It's basically like a QR code. And you're like, X, definitely an X.
It's an X. Sad thing is, some kanjis do look like QR codes. I mean, we laugh, but I'm blind as a bat, Sean, without my contacts. The end.
What's that like? Tell me what it's like. I don't know.
Well, you see, the world's just very blurry.
Yeah.
And you can't read anything. The end.
So, seeing's overrated or no?
No, I quite enjoy seeing, actually.
Why is that? Tell me definitively why seeing.
Well, let me tell you. Nothing's more infuriating than being standing like 2 feet from the clock and you can't read it.
I thought for sure. I heard the sta, and I thought you were going to say, nothing's more infuriating than when you get stabbed.
Oh, wow.
And you don't see it coming.
I mean, that happens to me like every other day.
I'm
Jacob's out to get me, you're out to get me.
I'm just not very
everyone's
aware
out
of
to
my
get me.
surroundings. I just like to be able to see things. It doesn't mean I want to be aware of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Special.
So in my health textbook, the whole idea of like being aware of your surroundings and being part of like a community and blah blah blah. It's like they call it mindfulness.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm bored. I was like, or I could not do any of those things and stay in my room. So yeah.
That's good stuff.
I don't know why that came to mind, but
Mindfulness. You know what? It's fine.
No, hit me with it. Tell me about mindfulness, Sean. How mindful are you?
Do you feel like mindfulness was just kind of like a thing that was like all the rage for a little while? Is basically just like a fad, and then it just kind of disappeared. That's kind of. I feel like there was a few years, maybe when we were in like high school or something, where everyone was like, mindfulness. Yes, you need to be more mindfulness, and then like it was just done. It was like freaking Flappy Bird.
Dude, I forgot all about Flappy Bird.
Exactly, and you forgot all about mindfulness.
True! Now I'm thinking about the rage that Flappy Bird
You be
brought
more
to my
mindful
life.
of the rage.
Oh, wow. I'm such a mindful person.
So here's an interesting thought.
Hit me?
I learned in cognitive psychology, and it's like an interesting thought.
Is that like, that's like a 10-10 class, right?
3,400?
Yeah, same level.
Pretty close. I learned in there, and this kind of just makes sense, but it's still interesting to think about that, like, so awareness is, or I should say, like, sensation is all in everything that we sense, everything coming in. And then
Right.
perception is what we actually decide what to attain to or what to focus on.
Okay.
So if you really think about it, like, you know, we're seeing grass and poopies and leaves and whatnot,
Grass and poopies and leaves.
but like most of everything here we're not really attaining to.
Nope, it's just there.
Yeah, it's just there.
It's pretty, but it's there.
Almost it would seem, and maybe this is a little bit too much to say, but most of our like function in our brain is not about like what we're focused on, but about getting rid of distractions. And so then we link that to mindfulness, which is being aware of things going on around you, and that eliminates that's like you need to focus on more things, which is directly against what your brain wants to do, which is get rid of some distractions so you can focus on certain things.
So you're saying, if you're a mindful person, you'll never get anything done.
Exactly. Because you can't multitask. It's impossible.
Huh.
Your brain can't deal with it.
Have you seen me? Oh, I mean, I'm sitting and talking at the same time. Sounds like I'm doing two things at once, Sean.
Yeah, but if you really think about it, can you not ever not do two things at once? Is that a double negative?
We're always multitasking. No, but it's just like the whole idea of like, what is it, patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, stuff like that.
You did it.
I know, dude. I'm amazing.
You're such a big brain boy.
I mean, I don't want to brag, Sean, but we've already decided I'm right up there with Corby.
Well, you decided it, but okay.
I mean, Corby, I'm sure will be okay with it.
Corby, leave a comment. You're probably not going to see this video for a few weeks. I don't know if you're caught up or not, but if you do see it, leave a comment.
Tell me why I'm right and why Sean's wrong.
Zach is on the same level as you.
Well, I mean, there's like, remember, there's like the centimeter. Corby's right above me.
Right.
I can't be as perfect.
That's it's impressive that even narcissistic Zach is humble enough to realize that he's not on the same level as Corby.
Just barely, but I mean, there's me and Corby, and then everyone else. So.
But I got the bottom of the barrel. You told me that, and I'm holding to that.
I forgot about that.
I am in the barrel, ladies and gentlemen.
You made it in.
I want like an infographic, like a chart. It's got like a barrel, and like Corby on the top, like outside of the barrel, and then you like on the rim, and then me like at the bottom, and then just like tons of people spilling out the sides.
What was that? It was like Shark Tales? What is that movie called?
Shark Tale?
Is it a Shark Tale?
That like Finding Nemo sort of. It came out at the same time.
And he just wants to be a somebody.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I never saw it.
I just remember that they have this graph in this movie of like, and the main character is like below the whale poo. I just imagine that Sean.
What a vibe. I totally get that. Whale poo is very good, man. It's very nutritious.
And like he's a whale cleaner, I think. I don't remember how
that
the
seems
whole thing.
Believable. You sound like you know what you're talking about.
I saw this movie once, a long time ago.
Allison references it occasionally. I'm sure Allison can leave a comment and tell us.
Allison, tell me if I'm right.
Give a summary. Actually, if I say that, she won't like me.
Uh-oh.
I was going to say write an abstract, but she's writing papers right now, and she's really unhappy.
I'll say it for you. Allison, write an abstract on the movie. Tell me why everything I just said was right.
Okay.
And if I wasn't, just twist it so I was right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
We need We need peer-reviewed sources. She's not gonna like this episode. She's gonna
Yeah,
really
you
not
can
like me.
you can quote Spicy Nuggs as references.
That's a peer-reviewed source.
Yeah. I mean, Sean, we had what? How many views did you say on the last episode? Like 15?
15. What are you talking about? Peer-reviewed sources?
No, we had 15 viewers. And that means there's at least 15 people who have reviewed our Spicy Nugs episode. And no one left comments saying we were wrong. So,
it must be right. We have a sample size of 15.
Dude, I don't know, that first episode has like 35.
I think it has 15.
No, I'm pulling it up.
All right, fine.
We're doing it right now.
Do it.
Because my YouTube auto-played from our last episode to the first episode.
Wow, were you riled?
That was so...
Were you like... Oh,
I listened to the whole first episode again with the fire ant.
Young Zach, he was so innocent.
No, not really.
Did you enjoy it, though?
Dude, it was the best episode I ever heard.
Did you weep tears of poo?
No. Ew. Gross. Icky. Stop it. Stop
It's a poo tear.
38, Sean.
Wait, it's a poo tear. It's a poo. Wait.
Wait,
it's a poo tear.
Look at this. 38. I told you I was right.
All I can see is like the drawing of the legs from Ideas thing.
I love how that's the video before Spicy Nugs came into existence. It's just like
It is, yeah.
leg hairs.
Yeah, we gotta do another one of those. Clay, we gotta do another one of those. Anyway.
Clay doesn't watch these anymore.
I know.
He hates us.
Well, that's understandable. Anyways.
Anyway. All right, Sean.
Tell me what you're thinking of right now.
Right now. Well, poopies.
Yeah!
No.
This episode's gonna be called Poopies and then whatever else we talk about.
Okay, so I do have something.
Poopies.
I don't know how interesting it is or how far we actually go with it, but
Can it
what
relate?
are you doing?
I went full starfish. Can it relate to poopies?
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can make it relate to poopies.
I'll give it my best shot. Off you go.
So,
then, young lad.
in ethics and values,
Mhm.
the most boring class of my life.
I like that you've had the same experience that I had with ethics and values. Where at the beginning I was like, I'm pretty into this, and then by the end I was like, I'm done with this.
They don't talk about anything interesting. They just talk about the philosophers. I went over in philosophy. That's it. I know all this stuff already. Anyways, we've been talking about Kant and his whole idea of
How do you talk about that?
what?
Kant? Like you can't
Oh
do
my
something.
God.
Sorry, keep going.
No, it's over. That's it.
It's like
That's all I had to say.
it's like in the Sandlot when they're like, "Would you like s'more?" He's like, "How can I have s'more or something? I haven't had anything yet."
So, Sean, how long were you waiting to use that one?
I just came up with it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Sean's not original.
What about Kant, man? Talk to me about Kant.
Okay, we just have the idea, because we're talking about morality,
Mhm.
and how you decide something is moral. And the Kant has this whole philosophy of, if you are okay with that thing becoming a universal law, then it's an acceptable action. So, like, the example, that we came up with in class is, my teacher was like, all right, well, what if I just wake up and I really don't want to come to work today?
Okay.
So she doesn't. She sleeps in, has a great time, and then she decides, oh, well, I want to go get a Diet Coke from the gas station. So she goes to the gas station, and it's locked. Nobody's there.
Because they were feeling bad.
They just didn't want to go to work today. So she needed to go buy groceries. The store was closed. Every place she went was closed because everyone that day just decided, I don't want to go to work today. And so it's like, this is unethical.
What a
because so yeah, that's what are your thoughts about things being acceptable only if you're comfortable with them being a universal law? And if you don't like it, what is an example?
Okay. So
Because I couldn't think of an example off the top of my head. So
here's something we talked about in my psychology of good and evil class. Okay.
When
When
we
we were talking about different like moral values. We were
Okay.
talking about justice and how it applies to like therapy because my teacher is, a therapist. Makes sense.
No
It's
way.
crazy, right? Psychologist being a therapist.
I
Okay.
never would have guessed.
So, and he used this example where he had recently graduated and he had a job at this place, and his job was to do initial consultations with patients where they would come in, and he would review or get some information about them and then review them or give them to a different psychologist who specialized in that thing.
Okay.
And basically what he realized is like a lot of young, attractive women were going to this one psychologist, even though he was not referring them to him,
Okay.
which is sketch. And he didn't think too much of it, and he brought it up one day, and the guy just got really defensive very quickly. Basically, things led to another, and he never got like any like proof that he was like sleeping with his patients or anything like that. But he actually saw one patient and this one patient and the therapist out like at dinner or someplace, which he was like, that's a little interesting. And when he brought it to the ethics board, they were like, well, if you can find some evidence that he's actually sleeping with them, you can come back to us. So basically what it came down to was a lot of the rules for the ethics board, he said they're necessary.
Okay.
And they need to be there, but they're not enough, because this man technically was not breaking any ethical rules,
Right.
but he was definitely putting himself in a lot of danger zones, and he ended up firing my professor because he'd seen him at that restaurant. He gave a different reason, budget
Of course,
cuts,
but you know, right?
But my professor literally saw an ad for the exact same
Position. Oh, jeez.
or someone told him about it or something, and like, so it's clearly not about budget cuts, right? So he literally got fired just for seeing that, even though like he wasn't like, I'm gonna snitch on you. Like, he didn't say anything like that. He was just like he was very like outside.
And that just reinforces that like what he thought was going on was happening, right?
Exactly.
It's like,
So to loop it back to Kant, I guess, I think that is a good principle, because it lets you see what things are too far.
Okay. I like that.
Because I think, in my opinion, with like ethical laws or stuff like that, they need to be a baseline, because you can't get into every single contextual like example. There's no way. So you need that baseline for sure, but they're also not enough. So you need some kind of guide or way to understand further than that. And I'm not sure what that guide or way is.
Okay. So it's interesting that you initially were like, I like this idea as like the base concept, right? Because when I first heard it, I didn't like it. But I didn't know why I didn't like it. I still don't know why I didn't like it. Because like I've tried to come up with like a scenario that I'm like, I don't know. Like, is there something I would want to be able to do myself but not have everyone else do? Like, is there a freedom or a right that I want but I don't want anyone else to have? I'm like, that doesn't seem like...
That doesn't seem like a good thing.
So like, okay, so I would agree with Kant in
Right.
that. But then, so I really liked we talked about Aristotle. I like his ethical philosophies.
You like, he's a bro?
He's a bro, dude. He's a bro. There's some things I'm like, okay, maybe that's not so bro.
Bro,
but
big
for the
true,
most
bro.
part, bro.
Big true, bro.
He's so bro. Dude, huge true. There's like big true and then there's huge true.
Whoa,
huge true, dude.
brah.
Bro.
Huge true, brah.
So yeah, that was my... I was curious what you thought about that. And then, one thing that was interesting is Kant was saying this ethical value system only works if everyone does it. Because another example was, for Kant, he believes that you should always be truthful, right?
Sure.
He thinks, and so, but the example came up, what if a Nazi knocked on your door and you were hiding a Jew?
Right.
And they asked if you were hiding a Jew. For Kant, he would say you have to be truthful. But is that the ethical and moral thing to do? But then, so Kant's whole argument to that, he's like, is the reason he says everyone would have to do it is because in a world where everyone practiced this ethical system, that scenario would never have happened.
Interesting. I got asked, I took a survey. I'm not supposed to talk about the survey, actually, now that I think about it. But one of the questions...
Oh, let's just delve right into
Don't
it.
worry about it. One of the questions was, do you think that if everyone, regardless of race, sex orientation, stuff like that, were treated equal, that like it would solve most of the problems in our country, in the world, you know, stuff like that. So I was asked that, and I'm not exactly sure why.
Okay.
But I answered, like, it was like a sliding scale where like 100 was you agree strongly and 0 was, and I answered pretty low. I think it was like in the 30s. And the reason I think that is maybe the best example is in Undertale. Okay.
I love Undertale, yes.
So you played through it, right? And there's lots of different turns that you can take throughout it, right? Whether you kill someone or you don't kill someone. But what I find very interesting is occasionally it gives you the option to be rude versus nice. So like when you're talking to Papyrus and you just beat him the first time, or the only time, I guess, and he's like, oh man, now I'll never become a member of the Royal Guard. And you're given two options. You're like, let's be friends, or what a loser.
And if you don't say, let's be friends...
Everyone chooses, let's be friends, right? And he's like, yay! And he says something like, you know, we haven't even had our first date, and I've already hit the friend zone. It's hilarious. It's cute. But
Yep.
I watched a video where someone chose, what a loser.
That monster.
And Papyrus turns around, and he says, like, why would you say that about yourself? I'll be your friend so you can be happy.
It's all about perspective.
And similar things happen with, like, Undyne. You know, she's, like, determined to be mad and angry at you.
Right.
And it's not until that very end turning point where you pretend to hit her and it reminds her of how she fought Asgore that she finally is like, all right. And you've gone through all this stuff finally. What I'm saying is, I think a lot of times people are determined to be mad about something. Other people are determined not to be mad about something. So even if you fix what seems to them maybe like every problem, and I'm not saying we shouldn't fix those problems, because obviously we should, but if you do fix those, there's going to be other ones that we can find.
So, it's fun. I love that my initial reaction to your survey was exactly what you were thinking.
Yeah.
Because I was like, my initial thought was, even if everyone is equal, someone's not going to think they're an equal.
Mm.
Like, it's all about perspective, especially with different ways of thinking in different cultures. How can you even say what's equal if two different cultures have two different views on something?
Yeah. That's why like context and everything is so important. That example of a Nazi knocking on your door. So let's say everyone in the world is honest. That shouldn't happen, right? There shouldn't be. But I don't know if Hitler was really lying to people.
It's true.
He was telling them maybe what he believed. I'm not really sure. But
Like I haven't watched any of his speeches or anything.
Yeah.
But I have heard that he did what he said he was going to.
he was a very charismatic. Like people loved him. Have you seen Jojo Rabbit?
No.
It's a movie about a kid in Hitler's youth, right?
I saw the trailer when it was coming out, but...
Great movie. Fantastic movie. The opening shows actual footage of, like, Hitler arriving places and just children screaming, cheering as he arrives. Just cheering. Because he was famous. He wasn't like... I don't think he was lying to people. I think he honestly believed some of the things he did. Maybe not all of them. But, like,
well, I think that's the scary part.
Exactly. Obviously, there's a lot of misguidance there. And so, like, an honest world, I think Nazis could definitely exist. It sucks. And in that case, you need to lie to the Nazi to save people's lives.
But then you're not being ethical, Sean.
What's more ethical, though?
So, the thing is, I think you can't just say if everyone was honest. Because in Kant's view, everyone would be honest, everyone would be like, it would be perfect, right?
Okay.
Like everything would be in place.
Everyone would be following all the perfect values, basically, or what?
Everyone would follow the values that everyone agreed should be universal values.
Okay.
And if everyone followed those universal values, then Nazis wouldn't exist. So like there's more than just
Okay. I have
that.
I have an issue with that then.
Okay, hit me.
Because that becomes
Not
a very
literally, just
that becomes a very dystopian future.
okay.
Where there's a very imposed set of rules from a big government telling you exactly how to live. We've seen that a million times in a million different stories.
It's true.
So, even if it's perfect,
Is it perfect?
is it perfect if no one has a choice?
I think that's what's so interesting about dystopian fantasies is that theoretically this should work perfectly, but once you like the main character's always in like some sort of circumstance where they can see what's clearly wrong, but no
Yeah.
one else can, right?
Right.
One of the things that like it's weird because like part of me is like what Kant says makes sense, but then I also agree with Aristotle, and they like completely go against each other
Right.
at times. And so, one of my whole things is, I do believe that there are some things that are just good in the
Yes.
world, but I also believe at times you shouldn't do what is normally good, like being honest, so to say.
Right.
Like I would say there is a time and place where lying is the ethical choice.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't happen often, but I think there's definitely situations where it is.
Well, I mean, once again, it just has to go back to whatever context you're in. And I
Right.
I totally agree with that. That's basically, that was the first portion of my paper for my good and evil class. It was just like, there is good and there is evil. And I do believe that in most situations, like not killing someone is the right thing, right? But I do believe also, probably in other situations, there would be a reason to kill someone. That's a more extreme version of that, but I think there's possibilities where that would be the ethical choice. It sucks to say it, because clearly I don't want to kill anyone except for you.
I'm the exception.
He's that one in a million.
I feel so special, so loved.
You just got a song. You just got a song on the album, friend.
One in a million.
He's that one in a million. And the first verse, you're just like, oh, this feels good. It's like a friendship, maybe a love song. But then in the chorus, it becomes clear that I don't want to kill you.
The truth comes out.
All right, whoa, we way over time. We hit 30 minutes, boys.
What the fetch?
So, anything you wanna, any words?
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch. Did you create the things yet? No, you didn't, because you're lazy.
Way to call me out, Sean. Rude. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm still Zach.
And I'm Sean.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's very big, 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 big water. It's very big, 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 big water. It's deep and dark and dangerous, scary and mysterious. In that big water.
I don't want to break it to you or anything, but have you ever seen a poo before? This is exactly what it looks like.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Gets squozed right out the butthole. There it is. That's it.
Gross. like you presented it.
It's like one of those commercials where they have like the sandwich like cut in half, but they like
Oh, then they, like, turn it,
peel
yeah.
apart and like all the cheese like melts out.
Dude, that's every food commercial ever. I hate it, but I love it because it looks so good every time.
You love it because like, man, that looks great, but then you hate it because you know that some like food editor spent like 2 hours working on that piece of food, and then they went into Photoshop and made it look even better.
And then you go and actually buy it, and you're like, what the
And
fuck
it's just
is
like
this?
a turd. It is this.
You see on the commercial, it's like this nice chocolate bar with caramel on the inside, and then you get that piece of crap.
Just a poopy.